I think the goblet squat is a key kettlebell exercise everyone should do. There's only one small problem that I have with this exercise. You see, the goblet squat is a front squat, which from a biomechanical perspective doesn't load your posterior chain as much. That's the reason why I have another type of exercise that you can include in your training schedule. But before we get started, I have a gift for you. Check the first link in the description. 30 days filled with kettlebell workouts for free. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. Like I mentioned, I love the goblet squat. I think it is a great exercise, and I think it should be included in almost any type of kettlebell workout. However, like I mentioned, from a biomechanical perspective, it is incomplete. Because when we go down into a goblet squat, the knee angle closes and your hip comes very close to your calf. This means that your hamstrings are shortened. They don't add any contractile force to the exercise. That's one of the reasons why you can goblet squat or front squat in that regard way less than you can back squat. Just recently, I found out this great idea of a belt squat. And this is the exercise that I'm going to show you right now. Now, in order to do this exercise properly, you need a dip belt and, of course, a kettlebell. So now what I'm going to do is wrap the belt around my waist and wrap the chain around the handle of the kettlebell. Now I want to make sure that I wrap it around about 2 or 3 times depending on how long your chain is. I want to make sure that the kettlebell stays close to my center of mass, because as I go down into the back squat, I do not want the kettlebell to touch the ground. I'm hinging a little bit. I'm pushing my knees out. My feet are planted outwards. Now my arms come to the front and my upper body leans forward. And then I come back up. Now if you see it from the side view, you see what happens. Check my so-called knee angle. This right here, it is open. And since I'm pushing my hips backward and my upper body moves forward, this is called a back squat. And this loads the full spectrum of my legs. Now let's check the comparison to the goblet squat. I bring the kettlebell up, grab it by the bell or by the horns. That's your preference. And now watch what happens. Boom. Check out my knees. And now let's compare this bottom position of the squat with the bottom position of the back squat. As you can see, the knee angle is closed and the back angle is open because my back is fairly upright or straight. Now my hamstrings have to do actual work to keep my upper body straight. My glutes and my quads do more work because my hamstrings cannot add any contractile force to this exercise. So a back squat changes things because if I push the hips back away from my calves now, there's greater leverage involved. So therefore, my legs have to do more work. As a bonus, what you can also do if you don't have a dip belt is place the kettlebell on your back. And then you're also able to engage in a so-called back squat. I have one problem though with this type of back squat when I put the kettlebell between my shoulder blades. If I use a heavy kettlebell, let's say a 48 kg, hoisting the weight up might be a tricky situation for many people, including me. Another problem is the mobility aspect. Not many people are as mobile, so they have a problem if they have to put the kettlebell between their shoulder blades. So if you're looking for a powerful squat variation that trains the full spectrum of your legs without you having to put a heavy kettlebell between your shoulder blades, buy a dip belt. Make sure that the dip belt is able to handle enough weight. This one can take up to 100 kg. You don't want the kettlebell to drop to the floor or even worse, on your foot if this thing doesn't hold up. The other benefit that I see in a belt squat is it forces you to understand the hinge properly. And as we all know, the hinge is a fundamental movement pattern when it comes to kettlebell training. So here's the next thing that you have to do. You have to like the video, consider subscribing, share this video with a friend, and then check out this video. This is where I explain the goblet squat in detail. Now, I mentioned in the beginning, the goblet squat is still a powerful exercise that you have to do. And in order to do it, you also have to understand it. So check it out right here.